that is highly aerobic, then I'm just going to be down low somewhere underneath some dirt in not too long. And so I need to do something like this. I know that even though it hurts, it appears to be harm. When I'm running, it feels like my legs are going to pop open. It feels like my chest is going to explode. It feels like my head is just going to fall off or something. I totally hate it, but what feels like harm works out to good. It's just because God wired us to work that way. God wove the fabric of this world to work in such a way that what we think is harmful, He makes good. And when you add Him into the picture, something wild happens. We get more resistant, but more good comes. My children want to behave in a particular kind of way. I want them to behave in a different way. Your children want to behave in a particular kind of way. And so what we do is we set up rules and guidelines and boundaries for them. And they perceive those rules and guidelines and boundaries to be harmful. Come on, man. You're restricting my freedom. You're holding me back. I don't know. I don't have teenagers yet, but I'm imagining they're going to be that way. So right now it's more like, do I have to? That kind of stuff. So they think it's harmful. Why am I doing something damaging to them? Dad, do you love me? If you loved me, you wouldn't ask me to eat broccoli. That's why I'm doing it, because what you think is harmful works out to good, right? Because there are at least some areas where parents know better than kids. And the same thing goes true with God. We look at the Bible and we say things like, you know what? The Bible tells me that if I'm single, I'm supposed to abstain from sexual relationships or even getting too close to that stuff. But that feels like harm. My relationship with this person is being damaged if we don't go there. It feels like harm to the relationship. It feels like harm to me as an individual. I can't express myself. And yet God says, don't do that kind of thing. So we have to decide, are we going to go with my position or my perspective on what's harmful and what's good? Or am I going to faithfully endure a process of apparent harm so that just maybe I can see some good on the other side? What are we going to do? What about the whole passage in the Bible that seems to tell us that husbands need to lead their families? That looks like harm. There are a lot of husbands who have done harm to their families by leading improperly. Why should we even pay attention to that part of the Bible, right? Can't we just chuck that one out? Well, maybe if we view it from a different perspective, we could say what feels like harm to me draws itself out through faithful endurance to be good. I can't give you all the answers, and I don't know what frustrations or pains or issues you're dealing with today, but I do know this. There are ways for you to find health and healing and wholeness and joy and purpose through faithful endurance. And there are ways for you to be dysfunctional. So to close this out, I know I've taken a long time this morning, but to close this out, I just want to share with you the last things of how to be dysfunctional and how to find health. Here's the first one, how to be dysfunctional. Pity myself. I experience the harm, the frustration, the dysfunction in my family, and I say, that's who I am. I'm a dysfunctional victim of a dysfunctional family, and I deserve to feel sad about it. I deserve to wallow. I deserve to let this identify me. Do that. It's dysfunctional, but you can do it. Number 2, you could indulge yourself. My family was dysfunctional. My family was filling me with pain and frustration and issues and all these problems. And so today what I'm going to do is I'm going to compensate. I'm going to compensate from all my pain by experiencing as much pleasure as I can now. I had problems with relationships in the past, so I'm not going to go there anymore. I'm just going to play around and do things that I think are fun, okay? Or anything. You might say, because of the pain and frustration of my past, today I'm going to compensate, overcompensate with fun, pleasure, indulge myself. Or, if you want to be extraordinary, you choose to endure faithfully. I don't know what you're going through now, what you've gone through before, what pain you've experienced, or anything like that. But this idea is so big on my heart that I hope you get it. That what looks like pain and hurt and frustration in your life can be good if you're willing to walk the road of faithful endurance with God. Every time Joseph was faithful, God lifted him up. And even when it looked like God had left him, God was still there. And it's exactly what God did through Jesus. The Bible tells us in Hebrews chapter 12, look to Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning all the shame, and eventually sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured such opposition from sinful men, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. Have you had to deal with a lot in your life? Jesus had to deal with more. Has God asked a lot from you? The Father asked more of his Son. Do you feel the tug in your soul to something great and grand and good? It's there if you faithfully endure with Jesus, the one who did it right, the one who finished it right, all the way to the end. Let me ask you to bow your head and just kind of enter into a time of reflection. If you've got that card in front of you, I invite you to take that card and just jot down some thoughts. What is God speaking into your heart this morning? What's a pain that you need to hand over to Him? Is there a way you've been indulging yourself that you need to say, no, I'm going to endure faithfully and find health and healing and wholeness? Maybe this morning you just need to finally say, God, my life belongs to you. I'm making that commitment today. Spend some time, you and God,